Hi, this is John from Vistapan Steel Instruments. Today we're going to talk about a do-it-yourself project that may be necessary for you at some point, hopefully not. We're going to talk about how to make a pair of mallets. Now, as pan players, we should all have a couple extra pair of mallets at the ready in case something happens to our main pair. But a circumstance could arrive where you need to make a pair, because we all know that music stores don't often carry pan mallets. So what to do when you have a rehearsal that night and your dog chews up your only pair of pan mallets and chews the rubber tips off, or you arrive in a different town to play a pan gig and the mallets that were always in the pocket of your car, someone cleaned the car and took them out and left them somewhere, and you're without pan mallets. Well, there is a way you can easily make a pair of mallets for just a few dollars to get you out of trouble. Now, these should not be your main pair of mallets, because pan mallets aren't all that expensive, and pan mallet makers, they take into consideration a lot of different factors when they make a pair of pan mallets. They use a very light wood or a light material. They create a very nice balance so it feels good in your hand. So there's no reason to make a pair of mallets as your main pair of mallets, but there could be a situation where you need to make a pair of mallets to get yourself out of trouble, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's take a look at the materials we need for this project. Just an ordinary roll of Scotch tape, a pair of scissors, hopefully a sharp or a newer set of scissors that's nice and sharp. Reusable gloves. These are those yellow latex rubber gloves that you see sold. They're $1 at the dollar store. And cleaning gloves. And then a couple of mallets. And the mallets, a couple of dowels rather. The dowels should be about 7" in length and 1/2 inch in diameter. So you can sometimes find in a dollar store, you can find in the section that sells kitchen utensils, wooden kitchen utensils, you can find something like this that you can buy for $1, or you can go to any Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a 1/2 inch dowel and cut it to the right length. Very, very low cost. Get the lightest wood that you can, and you'll be happier with it. Now, 7 inches is a good length for a mallet. Some people who play steel pan that come from playing drum set or marimba or so on are used to longer mallets, so they use a longer mallet. And if that's your experience and it's more comfortable, you can make them a little longer. There is a reason why pan mallets are 6 or 7 inches. That's because we try to keep the playing surface of the mallet very parallel to the note to get the best sound. And this becomes much harder to do if you have a long mallet. So that's why pan mallets are shorter. 7 inches is a good length, but like I say, you can make them longer if it's more comfortable. So first off, remove the gloves, and what you can do is you can take the fingers and just cut them right off. That'll make it easier. You can cut and use the fingers, but you're trying to cut one continuous strip about 1/2 inch width. And when you come up and go to the other side on the finger, it gets a little small and it can break. And the most important thing we're doing here is we're cutting one continuous strip. So with your scissors, the other thing is if there's an edge like this, you'll want to take that edge off and just cut that edge off. And then with the rest of it, cut up a 1/2 inch strip and make it continuous. Come right around the corner. And when you come around the corner, you want to, there'll be a little excess here in the top, and you just cut that off in a nice arc. So you have a 1/2 inch strip, and just come around and around and around both sides till you have one long strip. You won't need quite that much, but it's good to have one long continuous strip to work with. So once you've done that, and I have an example here. It doesn't have to look pretty at all. It can be rough edged. It really doesn't matter. Here's a little bit of it here. So this is an example of it, and you see how we're coming around the corner here. See, and I've cut around the edge to keep it at about a ½ inch. You don't want to make it much wider than that, or your stick will become very unbalanced. It'll be too heavy. So see how all rough that is? It doesn't really matter. When it goes on, it will look good. So then you take your mallet, and here's the important part. Hold this down and keep this edge here of the rubber right up to the edge. Even when you get to that corner part, see, I loop it around. I want to keep that edge. It's malleable material. It'll come right up to the edge for you like that. You can make it go anywhere you want. But the important part is I'm not stretching this like this. I'm not stretching it on there to keep it. Just barely enough to keep it on. Otherwise, it will be it won't be buoyant enough. There won't be enough buoyancy in the rubber, and you have too hard a playing sound. Okay? So just enough to keep it on there, and keep that top part right up to the edge. And it may look a little funny going on, but it won't when you're done. So you just keep going around like that. When you get towards the end, here's one that's done. When you get to about that much wrap, so you have about that, which is about the same as a rubber tip on a stick. Then you'll see if I came off here the edge with the last one, and then I create a little wind here, and this is where you can pull it really tight. Pull it really tight around there till you come 1 or 2 times around there, and then hold it in place, and take your Scotch tape. Take a good long piece like that of Scotch tape, because you want it to wind on it to itself, and take the Scotch tape and put it around there and wrap it around onto itself so it'll stay there. And there's your mallet. And this mallet will sound quite good. It won't have the balance, quite the sound or the balance of a one made by a good mallet maker, but it's produce an acceptable result for you, and you can get through your rehearsal or your gig or whatever that you needed to make them in the first place. So that's a way that you can make a pair of mallets to get yourself out of trouble.